Hello all, and welcome to another episode of AFW2's Blue and Beyond podcast. This month, we have Tonya McGough and Walt Myre, who brought several caregivers together for a Caregiver Lightning Round of various questions and topics. Let's listen in and see what they had to say.
Okay, another day journey. I am so excited. Walt, are you excited? I'm so excited.
I am super excited.
Yeah, me too. Of course, I'm Tonya McGough. I am the Caregiver and Family Support Program Manager, and I am truly excited. I have my section lead here with me, Walt Myre. He is the Team Phoenix section lead, and I am so excited to have him here. And so, Walt, how do you feel about this first ever caregiver podcast that we're doing for the first time?
Yeah, I think the caregivers have been in the background kind of watching how all this stuff goes down so they could perfect the art of the podcast. And I see you've got the super crew online with us today so that we can blow the podcast out of the water. So I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so excited. Caregivers, thank you so much for joining us today. You know, this is your first podcast, with the Caregiver Support Program. I am so excited about that. But guess what? I was speaking to Misty, and we were just talking about, the podcast and the stuff that she do on the side. And one of the things we was trying to figure out how we going to articulate this and come up with a name for the caregiver program. So when we do our podcast, this is so amazing. I'm so excited for this Caregiver Lightning Round. And that is what we call in the podcast, Caregiver Lightning Round. So you guys, we want you to light it up, and we want to talk, and you just want to share. We just want to have fun about all the different things that are going on with you. And so we're just honored to have you. So let's take a deep breath and let's move forward, and let's just make this podcast the best ever. And of course it will be, because you guys are amazing. So from the beginning, in your journey, I cannot imagine. I know Walt probably can relate to some things, but me personally, I just can't imagine. I've learned from you over the years, of all the different unexpected things that you have gone through, and things have changed your life forever. So being so, I definitely don't want to ever have to endure what you all have gone through. So again, I call it the caregiver train ride journey, because all you guys have been on a long train ride, and you're still going on a journey. And as you see, life just going to continue. But I'm glad, because of the fact that, because you are here, you have accepted the different things that you have gone through. And so, Misty, and Justin, you both, I'm gonna ask this question. I want, Misty to go first, and then Justin, I just want you all to share with us, after finding out about your warrior illness and injury, what shocked you the most about it? And I can imagine, okay, but again, I hadn't walked in your shoes, and a lot of people hadn't, have not. So knowing that your life has changed within the instant, how were you able to handle it?
Well, I'm in a unique position because my warrior and I were open about talking about what was going on with him. We noticed certain things happening, and I ended up being, I had just left him when something had happened, and I left the room for a minute, knew something was getting ready to happen, and I was like, I really wish he'd come with me right now. So I was there when it happened, came back, and we were able to immediately talk about what had just gone on, and without really going into details, and let's go get help. So I think the biggest thing that shocked me about it was that we didn't realize how bad it had gotten. We didn't realize how bad his condition had gotten. What shocks me about it, I've only been with him for 2 years. So the majority of his career, I wasn't there for. I didn't know all of his experiences. I knew some. I have a little bit of a psychology background, so I assumed, I was like, okay, there's going to be some PTSD. There's going to be some things that we have to work through. But the biggest thing was that he didn't, or nobody kind of helped him through it. And everything did change in an instant. And all of a sudden it was appointments, and it was talking, over talking and sharing and getting it out. And what does this mean for the career now? Because of course, like anybody else, you have plans. And then you've got to go through the mourning process of all of that and what happens next. So I think it happened so quickly. I mean, from the minute it happened to being out of the military was probably about 6-7 months. And it was shocking because I had just came into the military with him. Mm-hmm. And so then to all of a sudden be out, and of course for him, I can't even imagine. That's a 22-year career. And it just, everything changed. But at the same time, things changed for the better. I mean, we have a very open and honest relationship. We were able to just rally each other. And we've got this, and it's just about waking up every day and choosing to keep going and find the humor and getting the help and constantly seeking out the help that he deserves.
So were you angry, because your life has shift a little bit,
I wasn't. There's times there was I mean a little bit, but yeah. It was so new. Everything was so new. I mean, we were newlyweds. I think what angered me was we had literally been married not even 6 months. And I was like, how could you even, how could this happen? But then as we, the first couple of sessions, it was like, look, he relaxed. He met you and he relaxed, and all this stuff started going, and happening. And he was able to come to terms because you guys were talking and were happy and had this different future. And I was like, okay, I can't be mad at that. So, but we do have to change some things. I mean, we have a service dog now, which takes a lot of the pressure at first. It was just me and him, and it was going everywhere together. And now we have a service dog, so that he can be more independent. So I think that was probably the hardest thing, because we owned a business at the same time. So I was like, I have to be at the business.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. What about you, Justin?
I was the opposite. I was the opposite as Misty. When Lisa first told me what happened, that it had happened 3 years before we had even met, and I was naive. She told me, I was like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't, because that was the past, and I didn't want to talk about the past. I wanted to talk about us, and so I didn't really. I want to say I didn't take it seriously. I just didn't want to hear it. I was young and stupid. I mean, if you talk to Lisa or anybody that knows me, when I'm around Lisa, they're like, yeah, he's definitely grown up because of you. But for me, I was very naive, and we didn't know what the feelings were. It was just, hey, I don't want to go out tonight, or hey, I don't, I just want to stay in bed all day. And I'm like, hey, cool, fine, whatever. And it wasn't until she started going to the events, when she came back and she's like, you have to go. You don't understand like the feeling and just the rush. And she was like, it was like the best drug that you can ever have after being in an event. And it was JBSA. It was the JBSA event when I sat, and Miss Tonya still remembers it, because it was me and one other guy, and I'm just sitting in the back like, I'm not listening to this Dr. Phil.
He was
Dr. Phil. He
was terrible.
Women emotions and people crying. I'm a defender. I'm a guy, like, my dad had his finger amputated, and he wrapped it up and was like, hey, I gotta go to the hospital. Like, he didn't talk about that stuff. So it was the PTSD lecture, or the PTSD lecture. And that night I apologized to Lisa, the way that I acted and the way that I would respond to how she felt, because it would make me angry, because I didn't know how to understand what she needed, or I didn't know why she felt this way, why she would, be mad at something trivial, or I would get mad at something like super silly. And it's taken a long time. We've, like Misty, like, we, communicating and talking, and, just when she's having the bad day, or, when I don't do something I'm supposed to do, and, it upsets her, just being able to talk about it, not being so frustrated about it. And the thing that makes me angry, not about my life changing, because, I can't control that. I mean, I only thing I can do is just go, okay, like, here it is, and what are we going to do about it? The thing that makes me angry is that I can't do anything about it. I can't stop her pain. I can't stop the memories. I can't do those things. And it was the same thing at with Ella, finding out when, Ella had gotten died, and, there was nothing I could do about it. I'm the dad, I'm the husband, like, we're supposed to be, we're the ones that fix things. Like, if there's a problem, that's what we're there for, and I couldn't be there. Like, there's nothing I can do. And that is what angers me the most, is there's nothing physically I can do. All I can do is just be there, in the supportive role, in that the mental role of it. So
So now that, both you and Misty, you and Justin, both y'all have gone through, pretty much the difficult part. Nothing will change, of course, we know that. But can you find joy and laughter in what you're going through now, so you find it much easier now to process because you have accepted it and you understand it? And of course, I know you probably have other caregivers and warriors and their family members go through, the different same that are going through the same thing. But is it a kind of, I won't say it's fun now, but you can understand it and you can laugh a lot, and just get through different things differently. Are you able to handle it better, with laughter and joy? You're not so quick to get upset anymore like before.
definitely, at least for me, like, we know when the bad days are bad. It's not something that, you know, but at least my experience, it's not like a flip of the switch. It's, hey, I'm really sore today, or hey, I'm really tired. Okay, like, let's, watch, let's just lay down, let's watch something. We're planning our road trip for next month, in July. We're driving from San Antonio all the way up to Rhode Island. We're gonna stop at, like, all these, like, roadside attractions, and so we're stopping in Tennessee. So we're going to stop in Nashville for a night. And we're going to stop in all these places. And when we were talking, and I was like, Graceland would be, like, super cool. And then I was like, Dollywood, like, why not? Right? If you're like, why not? Let's see, like, where it's at. So Lisa asks Alexa where Dollywood is. And they're like, Alexa's like, Dollywood is 900 and such miles in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And Lisa was like, oh, because we're stopping in Pigeon Forge. And it was the way that she did it. I was in tears laughing, because the face, and just, like, it was like telling Ella, like, she's going to Disney, like, the excitement in her face. But I guess, like, the fun in it is, now that it's out there, right? We know about it, and there's nothing we can do about it. The good days are going to be good. The bad days, hey, they're going to be bad. But why put myself through it, or why aggravate a situation when we can just, hey, let's take a breath, let's step back. Sometimes it's just, walking out, or walking out of the room, composing yourself, and coming in and going, okay, now I can talk logically about it, or, I'm not talking it based off of emotion. And it still does happen because I'm a guy, and, our brains don't slow down and process things quick when we're supposed to. But it's a lot easier. And being with, this program and talking and having that outlet is really what has been the biggest thing. And, being able to talk with, other caregivers or, other people is really kind of like the best therapy for me. Like, I did the invisible wounds story, and now Randolph wants to do the story, wants to do a story on me. So being able to, talk about it and get it out there and be like, hey, this is happening, and it's a lot more common than you think, is what's helped me. And same thing with Lisa, sharing her story. That for me, it's part of my healing process, or my acceptance portion of it, is just accepting that, hey, it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. And you have two ways. You can run away from it, or you can just run towards it and go, bring it on.
That's right. Bring it on. Caregiver Lightning Round. That's what we talking about. Justin Go and Misty Hobbs sharing the information and letting us know what's going on. So, Walt, what do you think? What do you have to say about this? I mean, you have a lot of experience.
I never pass an opportunity to say something. I'm excited to have an opportunity to meet somebody for the first time. Jimmy Francis, I don't think we've ever met in person, but I look forward to the day that we can. And of course, I'm going to be talking to Christian Berry as well. Christian, I've seen you at several events, and we've had the opportunity to connect. It's very good to see you in this forum as well. I've been working with wounded, ill, and injured folks for about the past 11 years now, since I retired in 2010. And one of the consistent things that I've noted over that period of time, and it doesn't matter what service we're talking about, it could have been the Navy, the Coast Guard, Marines, whatever, the Army, the caregiver is the bedrock of the warrior's ability to transition through this whole mess. Right, and that's what I'll call it, turbulence. I'll try and stick with some Air Force terms. But the caregiver is the one that really takes the white caps off the waves, right, and helps bring a sense of calmness to what's happening. You're thrust into a position you don't ask to become. I heard somebody talk about it a little bit earlier. I think it was Misty that mentioned the mourning process, right? And not only does your warrior go through a process of mourning because they're no longer what they were, you lose a piece of your identity as well. And you absorb a whole new job, right? But somehow through all of that, you're able to twist some lemonade out of those lemons that life threw at you as a couple. How do you do that? Right? What's the most rewarding part at the end of the journey, or wherever you're at in the journey? What can you look back on and grab some reward from? And what are you most proud of? I'll go to you first, Jimmy.
Oh gosh, what am I most proud of? I'm proud that I have raised a daughter who's able to take anything that life throws at her in stride. When they first learned there was something wrong, they couldn't fix it. She was stationed down in California at Travis Air Force Base. So they sent her to San Antonio to have better medical care. And at the time I was teaching at the University of Texas in Tyler, which is 6 hours from San Antonio. And I was driving over 3 or 4 times a week and it got to be really old. And some folks at the University of Texas at San Antonio had been looking for a new professor in my particular area, which is nutrition. And they asked me if I'd like to come over here and teach. And so now I'm in San Antonio, and I was absolutely delighted because I am able to be here and to be that caregiver. And there's huge gratification in that for me, because my girl has always been there for me. Yeah. She and I went through college together. I started late, did things backwards to most people, and she has a brother and sister that are older than she is by 14 and 16 years. And so they were already in college when Darby and I went back to college. She was 2 when I started my master's, and she was 6 when I started my doctorate. And so I just dragged her around with me. She lived in the lab with me. By the time she was 8, she was working the atomic force microscope far better than I ever could. And so she accepts challenges in stride. And she does now still. When we go for our twice-a-week appointments at the VA to have her infusions, she is always joking and laughing with the techs, and not on the days when it takes 6 sticks. But they've gotten really good now, and so it's usually down to 1. And I'm just thrilled that I can be there, because there are a lot of people who have loved ones who are having challenges and they can't be there for whatever other family reasons. And so I'm just thrilled I can be there.
Yeah, that's a super story. And I will tell you, it's okay to do things backwards. Try it one night when you go out to dinner. Do dessert first. Be that person. Pecan pie before meatloaf.
Well, as a nutritionist, I will tell you that life is uncertain, so eat dessert first.
Yes, I like that.
I agree.
Christian, what are you most proud of? I know the whole story with the berries, right? And there's so much to talk about there. If for you to be able to pick just 1 or 2 things that you're most proud of, in your experience with this whole process, we'd love to hear it.
I would say I'm proud of getting to peace. I remember being so stressed out, and him being stressed out, and it was just like rumble jumble, all over the place and just insane. And so I am thankful to be able to be at peace. We have a joke going on right now, and I tell him he needs help. I can say that now. I can tell him he needs help, thankfully. And he goes, "You are my help." And I want to laugh, but it's true. So sad and true. And so we laugh about it, getting to laughter and getting to peace. It's just so many things that, like you said, to talk about, but when he's running and he's competing and he's able to perform in adaptive sports and he gets those medals, and being able to help him train, drive him around, make his food, and then on top of that, handle his medical care. I'm just thankful that I'm able to do that in peace and not feel, in the beginning, I felt crazy because we just did not know what was going on for like a year. And I'm like, listen, if it wasn't for the program, I wouldn't even understand like some of these, medical terms enough to communicate to you something's wrong with you. And then you have, in his case, unfortunately, he didn't have the medical care right away to back it up. So to be able to have the peace, okay, we know what's going on, like Misty mentioned and Justin, and we're able to navigate through it. And if it's a good day, it's a good day. And if it's a bad day, that's okay. And we're able to adjust and laugh through it. That has been the most thing that I am proud of.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it kind of harkens back to what Justin was talking about, it being able to accept the circumstance.
Yes.
And make the adjustment necessary to make it as smooth as possible. Just absolutely amazing resilience, amazing resurgence, right? I really like the word resurgence when it comes to going through this process of recovery, because I think in many ways, each of us, whether it's the warrior or the caregiver, comes through it a little bit stronger, different, but stronger in many, many ways. So I'm proud to be associated with each and every one of you.
That is beautiful. I'm happy. You see the smile here. I'm just so excited, and it's just like all you said. That's the main thing. Get into peace. Because Walt, I say this all the time. The caregiver give our warriors peace that the entire world cannot give, because you are the only one that are traveling that same journey. So I'm really excited. But you also, we do have caregivers, Walt, that sometimes you can witness this, and probably some of the caregivers, on here can witness this as well. I don't know, but you would tell me, I'm sure. But so sometimes it's so hard letting go. And when I say letting go, it's hard of letting your warrior stand alone and be on their own, because you're so busy, you know, you've been there through the whole entire journey. You really don't trust anyone but yourself and, you know, your circle, right? And it's hard, you know, trusting and putting the warrior in the care of somebody else. And in many occasions, I've had caregivers that say, I'm not a caregiver, you know, I'm a mother, I'm a spouse, you know, just like Justin. You know, so sometimes with males, you know, pride get in the way, and sometimes with mamas, you know, I am a mother, I am not a caregiver, I raised this child, you know, and I've had that, you know, on many occasions, and all I can do is sit there because I understand, but I don't understand because I hadn't walked in the shoes, you know, of the situation. So all I could do is just listen. So Glenda, you know, at times, do you find yourself as being a enabler at times, you know, as a caregiver, you know, not saying that you are, but you know, are you one of those people?
Hey, it's an honest question. It's an honest question. You know, in the beginning, I would say I was, and we're talking years and years and years ago, and I admit to it, I wasn't and I, you know, you mentioned, you know, we didn't identify as caregivers. I identified myself as a wife. I was not a caregiver. And that was a very fine line because I didn't want to be his mama. I wanted to be his wife. Okay. But you know, I was a bit of an enabler as well. And I was very, very protective of my husband. And I took over everything. And then in the midst of this, we transitioned out of the Air Force and moved to a small town community in Southern Indiana, into a community that doesn't understand what it means to be combat wounded, what it doesn't mean to be a caregiver for combat wounded. And so I watched my husband just, you know, become an introvert and not getting out and doing the things that he used to enjoy. And I was allowing this to happen, you know, I mean, it was because of me. And, you know, I got to a point in my journey that I became desperate and I wanted him to get out. And in 2014, I went to a care event on my own, and I was watching all these warriors going off and doing these things and, you know, just, you know, kind of bumping fists and hanging out and doing these adaptive sports on their own. And I was watching this and I was so desperate to get my husband out of this mindset of just, you know, just, I can't do anything. I'm just sitting like this. And I literally came home from this care event and I'm like, we are gonna go. And I was just so excited. And because I was an enabler, I had an in the, I mean, he just did not want to go. I mean, he just flat out told me no. And one of his medical providers helped me in getting him on that plane. And she used the right word. She said, would you tolerate the week for Glenda? And the key word was tolerate. And so he was like, no, fine. And so when he went to his first care event, I was so excited. I'm like, bye, you know, see ya. And he was so mad at me. He did not want to go. But I'm going to tell you something. My husband, at the end of the week, literally threw his wallet, threw his service dog leash at me. Did not throw the dog, okay? The dog was fine, but he threw the leash at me. And he just went and had a great time. And you know what? That was a turning point for him. And I have seen such a huge change. And I'm also a believer, you know, the word disability has the word ability. And these warriors have the ability to go on in life and to try something new. They might not be able to do what they did exactly the way that they did before their injury. I mean, that's okay. It's about finding the new norm. And I think as caregivers, I think it's our job to help encourage that new norm and to help them find this, you know, a new passion in life. And I'll tell you, these care events, my husband's not athletic by any means, but it has been a turning point. Now he's out and he's into woodworking and he loves to help me out with, we have chickens. So now he's this great chicken keeper and, you know, he's getting out of his shell little by little. And so it's because of the fact that I stepped back and I was not that enabler. I was actually just kind of letting him go, that I've seen that wonderful change. And I encourage caregivers, let them go, let them do a little bit. It's okay. If they fall, it's okay. Be there to help them get back up, or let somebody else be there to help them up. It's okay. They're going to get up and keep going, but let them do it. It's good for them.
So Misty and Jimmy has not been to an in-person care event. We, of course, we know that COVID, has changed a lot of different things, nor have they participated on the virtual. So once we get over to his question, Walt, you can kind of explain that to them so they can kind of understand it. But I'm gonna let Justin, what you got to say, because I know you are that person.
So I am not, I kind of became an enabler, but as I said in the chat, as a man, I can agree that sometimes Lisa is my mother. I think the hardest part for me, like even as an enabler, I would just be like, go do these things. And like Glenda said, Lisa was not athletic at all either. She was a dancer. She did ballet her whole life. Like that was her life, before the military. And I think like the biggest thing was, everybody's saying no. Air Force doc saying, you're never going to run again. After surgeries or after, you're never going to do this again. And that's the mentality Lisa came into her first event. They're like, hey, you're going to do this. And she's like, no, I can't. And they're like, yeah, that's cute. Get in the chair and this is what you're going to do. And that instilled that drive in her. And I think like what Glenda said is like, that go and do it. I go back to what BJ Lang always says, like with improv, it's always yes and as caregivers are like, okay, yes and like, and that and is that it's a suggestion, but it's not. Like it's like, when we were younger, like your mom would be like, hey, are you gonna do this? And you knew that you didn't want to do that, but you were gonna do that anyways. So Glenda is the OG of the OGs. Like she built this program from the ground up. But it does really resonate with that, we are enablers on the good days, but we're also bad enablers too, even if we don't want to admit it. But yeah, like
there are some things that we just don't want to admit, right, Justin?
No, I'll admit anything. Like the only reason that I'm still productive in the military is because of my wife. Even with her being retired, like she still kind of sets me on that straight and narrow when I need it. But that was the hardest thing for me too, is seeing her go through these struggles, and she outranked me, and I had to separate. I couldn't go and jump on people's desks as her husband, even though I wanted to. Like she would pull that leash back and she said, no, you can't do that. But I'm like, no, this is just going off. And Andrea, like, knowing Andrea, and she is my spirit animal. Like
Justin, that is a perfect segue actually to Andrea. There's so much energy expended in being a caregiver. There's so much a proper face that you have to put on, right, throughout the day and throughout the week and throughout the month, so that you can properly advocate for your warrior and get done the things that you need to get done for both of you. It's PTSD Awareness Month. June is. I can only imagine that some of you have some experience with post-traumatic stress in your family, right? When you're having a bad day, when your cup is empty, when you don't have any more to give, how do you deal with that personally? How do you let your warrior know, hey, I need you to chill today because guess what? My cup's empty. How does it happen for you, Andrea? Go ahead and put the frame on that for us.
To get him to chill. For me, first, it starts off with going for a walk. My exercise is my number one thing. An extra thick milkshake always work, comes in handy.
Oh,
My faith, my music, and I sing a lot to keep me chill. And me, I like to cook. So when I'm stressed out, I go cook and then I give it away. I give it away. I'll donate it to whoever needs it, whoever wants it, whoever enjoys it. That's what keeps me going. And
it's lucky we don't live close together because I'd have you stressed out all the time. You'd be cooking.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. That's cool. That is
How
cool.
about anybody else? Misty, what do you do? I mean, what's your signal that, hey, Misty's had enough?
So to be quite honest, we owned a bar and I was bartender, owner, and bouncer, security. So I'm just very vocal and I just say, hey, so I am having a bad day today. And so it doesn't get worse. We're going to do this, and this is what's going to happen today because this is what I need. And my husband and I both are just very vocal with each other. And it's just one of those, we're honest about it. And because I have spent my life doing that, I've always been the one in my family that has been over the top, opinionated. So I just tell it like it is. And so that's who I am. And if I'm not feeling well, I'm going to say, because I have my own medical issues and I have to take care of me. I have to take care of me first so that I can help him on his journey. So yeah, I'm like, dude, we are chilling in bed today. Or, if I see his phone ring or I see it's a kid calling, no, you guys aren't coming over. Nobody's getting a free meal tonight. Nope, we're not going to do this. And I need everybody to stay away. And we're just going to work through this at our own pace and however we get through it. So yeah, I just say I'm having a bad day. Please go away right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, how much more clear can that get, right?
Exactly.
And the important thing to remember is it doesn't matter who we are or what we do. You might be a firefighter, you might be a bar owner, you might be a doctor, you might be a lifelong spouse or someone's mother. We're all going to have that stress build up on us. And we're all going to get to that point where we're less than half full on that cup and we're unable to really support the person properly. So, I mean, from a medical perspective, Doc, are you a medical doc? Jimmy, are you a medical doc? I heard you say
I'm a PhD
doctorate.
doc. I'm a
PhD
doc. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, I mean, how do you deal with it differently?
Actually, I'm in that same boat with Andrea. Music is one of my salvations. Music and cooking. So I dance around. I put music on.
It's good to know that AFW2 has got it right and our connection with Rock to Recovery, right? And using music therapy, good stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And let's see, on 2 days ago, I had made 3 different batches of cookies and took them around, giving them away. And we have new neighbors across the street that just got in from Germany. So they were actually quite pleased to get some cookies.
Ma'am, I work out at Camp Bullis in Lackland Air Force Base. You can bring me cookies anytime.
Actually, my warrior does. Every time we go out, she always has cupcakes or cookies or something, because that's one of the ways that she copes as well. And so she's always taking goodies to all her folks out at Lackland. In Bamsey too.
To Delaware?
What?
You bring your cookies to Delaware?
If I get up there for a conference, I sure would.
I like chocolate.
Yeah. Well, Andrea, you can cook a lot too. You can bring some, both Jimmy and Andrea, you can cook. Y'all will have the opportunity, hopefully, to come to an in-person care event. And I expect cookies, cupcakes, and maybe we can work out something to where we can have like a cooking show, and a caregiver cook for other caregivers. Now we could probably make that happen, right, Walt? We could probably make something like that happen, So
and I'll do the dishes.
Yeah.
I'll do the dishes. I'll throw that out there right now. I'll do all the dishes.
All right. I'm so excited. So this is for all the caregivers here. I have a question, and again, I have not walked in your shoes, but I'm so excited and uplifted every time I hear your story, because or just something related to it, because of the fact that you feed my spirit, and it makes me happy that you're able to talk about these different things and not be angry and mad and frustrated over these different things, because you all are living witness and example for other caregivers to model out of and be inspired, and you can help them through their journey. So if you can change one thing about you, what would it be? Justin, go with you first.
Easy. Anger. It's something I've really kind of worked on. I really wish that my generation growing up was more like, I would say, the new generation, like the Aaron we have coming in today, that it's okay, it's acceptable to have feelings. It's acceptable to be upset about something, within a certain degree. That is just something I wish that I had better. I'm better at. That's something I wish I was better at. It would be just being able to accept things and think more rationally than emotionally. That would be my thing.
Awesome. What about you, Jamie?
I would be more patient. I am not patient. I'm working very hard to be patient, and I'm just not. It's so hard to wait for that doctor to call back, to wait for that paperwork to get through. And I'm so bad that I actually have had for many, many years a cartoon that hangs above my desk that shows two little vultures sitting in a tree, and one says to the other, "Patience, my beep, 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 I'm going to go kill something." And I'm that little vulture. And so I work on it every day to be a little bit more patient, but it's a hard road for me.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Misty?
This is a hard one for me. I think it's going back, the thought that I would need to change. That's what I always want to work on with me, is that I don't need to change through this. I need to just keep being the person I am. But that is something that I will catch myself doing if there's a bad day. Oh, I need to change something. That's always my first thought. No, I need to change that. No, I just need to keep on going and know that I'm created the way I was created, and I've gone through this experiences that I've gone through so I could be here, and so I need to not change. So that's one thing I would change, is that thought process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And nothing wrong with it. What about you, Andrea?
And thinking about that, I would say my patience, because honestly, with my husband going through, my patience is worn thin, because I figured by now he should be well. You should be doing a lot better than what you are right now. Things should be more consistent. And well, in my anger, I laughed at him, but my anger, just like, what the, excuse me.
Yeah.
Either you gonna get it right, or I'm gonna put some butter in your food since you're lactose intolerant.
Andrea, you make me laugh. But I get it. I do understand. I do. Even if you're not going through, you got to laugh, to keep from being mad and angry all the time, But if it's a constant and you feel that things should be better, I get it. I think we all get it, And so my husband's not even going through things, but I get it. Trust me.
It's like, oh.
What about you, Glenda?
Well, I was thinking about this, and I am fine the way I am today, but it's like, do I speak to the old you know, the old Glenda or the new Glenda, or the now Glenda, I should say, because you're talking to OG Glenda. So in my early caregiver years, I would have said patience, anger, frustration, wanting him fixed now. You know, why isn't this done now? I want this done now. But you know what? If I could go back and say, you know what, Glenda, don't worry that they're going to know, the VA is going to know you by your first name, and they're going to know your telephone number, and they're going to know not to mess with you, you know, because I am okay with that, because that means that he's getting the care that he needs. And if it's not right, they're going to know that they're going to hear from me, because we are going to get this together, and we're going to call the team together, and we're going to get this right, because I'm not about to let my husband fall through the cracks. And they know that about that. They know that I don't play that game, because ultimately my husband's care is priority number one in my role as a caregiver.
Yes.
So I am okay with where I am. They know I'm fierce. I'm not perfect. I don't pretend to be a perfect caregiver. I make mistakes all the time. I embrace those mistakes. That's how I learned to be a better caregiver. But I am very much a tough cookie when it comes to taking care of him, and nobody's going to get past me if it's messing with him. So
I know that. I know you. I know that. I talk to you quite a bit. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna mess with Glenda.
Oh, you're good. You guys are all good. You guys are the bomb. I love you guys.
I love you too. No, but I get it, y'all. I get it, and that's so important that you're able to advocate and voice that and do what you need to do, because they can't. You know. They really can't. So that's
and
awesome.
It's okay to speak up. It's okay. Don't be afraid to use your voice and speak up. It's important. Sometimes these warriors don't know how to speak up. It's okay, caregivers. Don't be afraid what others are going to think. It's okay to say, this is what's going on. Speak up. Use your voice. It's important. Don't be shy. Use your voice. Go for it.
Awesome. What about you, Christian? What would you change, if anything?
This is such a loaded question, and it makes me think about my mental state. I have changed in such a positive way since this journey. Just my own depression prior to his injury had taken a toll. Being a mom of 3 and having my kids back to back, and then him being injured on top of that, my kids being so small, really, I had to like fight through. So I'm a fighter now. And so I feel like this experience has made me be a fighter, and helped me just keep striving. I think with change is so unique, because I feel like anything I want to change, I know I can fight for. And I know I'm going to keep putting myself in a position to put the changes, whether it's anger or patience, whatever's going on in the day. Okay, you know, what can I do? Let's remember my steps. Sometimes I have to get my little notebook out, get my journal out, and write down the things that, you know, I have for myself that reminds me of my steps. Sometimes when you're in that roller coaster ride, you forget. But if I had to choose something, I guess it would be balance, like having a balance to take care of myself, so that I can take care of them even more efficiently. But at the same time, I feel like I'm where I need to be to get to that point, and to be in the place I need to be to, you know, to be the best version of myself, not just for myself, but for them as a mom, as a caregiver, you know, as a wife, and all those different components.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah, she always wants to fight me every time she sees me.
It's a lie.
That is awesome.
It's a bold-faced lie.
That is amazing. And I know we were just joined by Allison Pate. I saw her for a second. Where'd she go?
Yeah,
Melissa,
she
you took
was
her back
here.
out?
I'm assuming it's technical difficulty.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
We had a perfect
and I think
segue question to Allison, right? She just
maybe
heard that little piece about the things that you want to change about yourself potentially. Here's a great question for all of you. And I know you're going to have a quick answer for it. If someone gave you $10,000, what would you do with that to take care of yourself? Right now, hold on, don't get excited, because I'm not Ellen DeGeneres. I'm not Oprah Winfrey. I'm not going to tell you to reach under your seat and grab something magical. You're not going to wind up with $10,000 after this. But if that happened, what would you do with it to take care of you?
First off, I'm holding you to that, Walt. I know where you work, so I better see $10,000. I really can't answer that. It's funny because I'm a caregiver to, my wife who runs this house. It's hilarious. We talk about it all the time. I was like, I'm pretty, like, she handles the bill, she handles everything. So I was like, if you've ever seen the movie Office Space, like, my wife could be skimming money off the top in our paychecks and making a slush fund to leave me to go to Hawaii or whatever. I would never know. But I've told her a million times, I was like, if anything ever happens to you, I'm like dead in the water. I have no idea what to do with my life. Like, I can only make ramen, mac and cheese, and hot dogs. Like, that's why my daughter loves me so much, because, we live in the same diet restrictions. But answer your question, $10,000.
Hey.
$10,000 to spend on
I'm
myself
good, and you?
would be, I would buy the Lego Millennium Falcon, the Lego Death Star, and then I would go play every PGA course that I could play.
Absolutely amazing.
Augusta,
okay,
South
Allison, I see you
Carolina,
back
everything.
on. Allison Pate. The question to you is, if someone handed you $10,000 today, how would you use it to help take care of Allison? For you, what would you do for you? Yeah, for you. I know you're not used to that, but what would you do for you?
I know, honestly, I would probably go buy more animals. We just started our farm this year, and I've spent a lot of money on animals this year. And I probably would go buy more, honestly.
Hey, if animals are your gig, that's your gig.
It would probably be cows. That's the next thing I want to get into. So, I mean, that's a money pit to get into, but you would see a little bit of reward down the road. So maybe that's what I'd do.
Yeah, that's a great answer. All right, Andrea, how about you? What would you do with it?
I just signed up to go back to school to finish my degree in business management and human resources management. And I have one bill I'd like to get rid of, and then that's it.
That is absolutely amazing. Y'all are making me feel super selfish because I've got a whole list of things that I can.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to do with buying farm animals or going back to school.
You just wait now.
All right, Glenda, what you got?
I have had a dream. I want to go back to Hawaii so bad. I left there when I was 3 years old and I don't remember it. And I want to go back and see it through adult eyes. It has been a dream of mine. So it would just be me and my husband, nobody else. And I wouldn't tell nobody that we're leaving. There would be no Google Calendar, because my life is on a Google Calendar. I am with all these stupid VA appointments and no Google Calendar. Just go to Hawaii, sit on a beach, drink something, wonderful, and just chill. Maybe get a massage. Yeah, get a massage. Sure. But just chill. Don't do nothing.
That sounds great to me. Massage on the beach in Hawaii.
Yeah, no cows, no chickens, no, none of that. So that's what I would do. Yeah.
Okay, totally. I'm expecting something really wild and crazy, Misty. What's it going to be?
Why? Well, I mean, so yeah, it's I'm torn right now between travel. Obviously, like, I've never been to Hawaii. So, and it's really odd because half of my family comes from there. So, I mean, I think maybe I should go to Hawaii. There is also, though, a little place in Oklahoma, not so wild and crazy, but it's just this little place in southern Oklahoma, and I would love to get a little cabin there. And with the $10,000, I would invest it because I do investments. I do stocks and stuff, day trading and that kind of stuff. So I would take the 10,000 and I would grow it so that I could get the cabin in Oklahoma. So
nice.
That's what I would do. Kind of selfish.
Absolutely cool.
I mean,
Christian Berry, what's happening?
I don't want to answer.
Do it.
I would give it to my family. Like, it's not good, but I really should travel. But I know for a fact, I'm like, hey, you can have this much and this much, and I can still go travel. Like, it's bad. I would give it away to people like my mom, or like I would do something like that because I'm special. But I mean, yeah, it would be like I would need to like submit to traveling. Like me and my husband take 2 weeks, me and the kids take another 2 weeks, like it had to be like a whole month shebang, and we just travel wherever, use the money wisely. So yeah.
Very cool. So you're going to travel a little bit and you're going to give the rest away, just like a selfless caregiver.
Yeah, well.
That's how you do. Yeah. Jimmy, what are you going to do?
I would actually take my girl and we would go sailing. I have some friends who have a sailboat in the Virgin Islands, and Darby and I used to sail with them a lot in the time she was about 5 or 6 years old, and haven't been able to do that recently. And
yeah, that sounds
that's what
amazing.
I would do with it.
Tonya, over to you.
What I would do with that $10,000?
Yeah, let's hear that.
No, I was just joking. Oh my goodness. I would buy a piece of crystal, you guys. I'm not Swarovski. I'm sorry. I would put, I wouldn't, that's what I would spend it on, honestly. But yeah, I would. I am very bad in that area. I shop, I do a lot of things, but that is my worst thing. My husband would tell you that, and if y'all know Jose, he gets in trouble all the time because of it. Because when we do go to in-person event, I want to go to different Swarovski shops, and I tell my husband that Jose made me do it. He made me spend it.
That's rude. So now that I know that, I'm a Hawkeye you.
Oh, man. He knows it. He knows it. But great things. What about you, Walt? $10,000.
Oh, I am totally ill prepared for that question. I won't answer that on no.
Well, anyway,
let's
guys,
hear the list, Walt.
It has been such an amazing journey with you all. You made the promises to your warrior to give peace to them, and you've done that. Giving them something that the world cannot give us is your journey with them, and I'm grateful that you stay with them and you sticking with them side by side. And I just thank you so much for embracing life. Life should be fun, even after you go through the storm, but you guys have owned the storm and y'all have became like, man, y'all just bold in it, and that's what you want to see. You want to see caregivers just moving forward and just doing your thing. And that is why we call it the Caregiver Lightning Round. You guys have the light in your hearts, but you bold in spirit and in truth, and you know how to fight out the darkness when all the negative come in, and when things get to happening, you know how to take it on. And so that's very fierce. That's what you all do. You're caregivers, and so you know your priorities and you accepted that. And a lot of caregivers that's across the world, they don't understand that because one thing, they are in your shoes, but they don't know how to handle that. And so we're grateful to AFW2 leadership for allowing us to be able to have the things that we have within the program that we have with the Air Force. So it's awesome. And so I just want to say thank you to Justin Go, Jimmy Francis, Misty Hobb, Andrea Ferguson, Glenda Leary, Christian Berry, and Allison Faith. And of course, my section lead, Walt Myre. Thank you all so much for being a part of the Caregiver and Family Support podcast, first ever Caregiver Lightning Round. So until next time, I'll see you then. I love you all. Bye.
Love you.
Love you. Woo!
That's it, folks. That's all we've got for you this month. Don't forget to catch us every second Tuesday of the month for new episodes of AFW2's Blue and Beyond podcast. We'll see you next month.